Hey YouTube! So this is going to be a pretty short video. I have to get back to studying for my exams and getting tons of papers done, but I really wanted to make this video today because recently I've been having discussions, with my straight friends about the phrase no homo. Now, when I was talking to one of my friends, she said something and then she said, that's so gay, or no homo, or something like that. And then she looked at me and said, does that offend you? She sort of was a little bit worried that it offended me, and I said no. We got into this discussion, there was a bunch of us, and we sort of were talking about how people who say no homo and that's so gay these days, they don't actually mean it in sort of this offensive way. I'm so used to people saying it and me hearing it that, I barely even noticed, and that was that. And then I had a similar conversation with another one of my friends. She asked me why it doesn't offend me. And I said that I'm so used to hearing it from everybody, and I just don't really notice it anymore. She made a really, really good point. She said that we've kind of institutionalized the saying, and when we say it so often that we just don't notice anymore. And she was like, it's obviously not made to offend people when you say it. However, we should probably start thinking a little bit about why we say those things. So the phrase no homo actually came from sort of the East Harlem area in the 90s. After time, it was actually Lil Wayne who brought it into the mainstream. Even though the term is not used now as a way to offend people, it started out as being people who had to sort of prove their heterosexuality and were sort of scared of people thinking that they were homosexual, that they had to say no homo after something that they thought people might interpret as them being gay. One of my friends sent me this really, really interesting link. I'll put the link down in the description. Basically, this guy is talking about the phrase no homo, and some of what this guy is saying in his article is this. I remember the first time I heard the phrase no homo. I laughed and shrugged it off as ignorance, but then I kept hearing it from different people, and it spread like wildfire. For those of you unfamiliar with this offensive phrase, UrbanDictionary.com defines it as a phrase used after one inadvertently says something that sounds gay. For example, Paul and I had each other's back all the time, no homo. Basically, it's similar to the expression, that's so gay. And then he goes on to say, aside from the obvious homophobia implicit in no homo, the main thing that phrase says to me is that the person is so uncomfortable with himself and his place in the world that he needs to constantly prove his heterosexuality. I never really thought about it that way. I usually just thought, somebody is saying it because people in hip-hop say it and stuff like that. And I know all of my friends who do use it, they've never meant it in an offensive way. But it's suddenly given me a different perspective on the phrase. And even though a lot of people don't think that it's offensive now, it started because there was this sort of idea that homosexuality was wrong and people would look down on you and stuff like that, and so they had to sort of prove that they were heterosexual. But it's definitely been so used in society today that people think it's okay to use, and it really isn't. I think that people really need to start to realize where this phrase came from and start to sort of watch what they say. It did start as something offensive, and it can offend somebody that they might not want to offend. So that's my little rant about that. I'm super, super busy with finals and getting my papers done and studying and finishing up the semester. My next video won't be for another 2 weeks, but until then, to whoever does have finals and things like that, good luck on finishing the semester, and I will make another video in 2 weeks. That's it. Please subscribe.